May 30th, 2020, I achieved a time of 19 minutes, 3 seconds, and 833 milliseconds in Super Mario Bros. Warpless.
Yes, dude, we did it. Yes.
Time fast enough to put me in 4th place when it was done. It was a run worth being proud of. Since then, 1 year has passed, and despite not improving my personal best yet, I have decided to create a little video on this particular grind, and all of the PBs and unfortunate resets that occurred from March to May of 2020. Enjoy! On July 31st, 2019, I got my first ever sub 1910 with a 1909.873. Several months would pass before I would find success in beating that time though, and I did it on March 26, 2020. The first mistake in the run was missing the axe in 6-4. However, this surprisingly saved one frame rule, or 0.35 seconds, over my fastest 6-4 at the time. And with what looked like another frame rule save in 7-1, I was a full 2 seconds ahead of my 8-month-old 1909. Unfortunately, a bad blooper at the end of 7-2 would kill off most of that lead, but I still remained 2 frame rolls ahead in the green. A much cleaner World 8 sealed the deal, and I got my first personal best in almost a year with a time of 19 minutes, 7 seconds, and 876 milliseconds. This run would begin this epic adventure. After the 1907, I continued to play Warpless. 4 days later, on March 30th, I would improve my PB once more. In this run, I was able to save a frame rule in 4-4 with the assistance of a faster Bowser fight. In 6-4, I cleaned up my previous mistake of missing the axe grab, and saved an additional frame rule. I was now 2 frame rolls ahead into World 7. However, things would not look good in 7-1. Everything went well, except for the slowdown it took to the staircase at the end. This would cost me about 1.4 seconds, and would place me 2 frame rolls behind instead of ahead. But, I did have that time save in 7-2 if I didn't get an awkward blooper. I didn't get the bad blooper, and not only did it make up for all that time lost in 7-1, I saved an additional frame roll over my current gold split, and I came out 1 second ahead of my 1907. I would save another frame roll in both 8-2 and 8-3. The result would be barely missing 1905, with 19 minutes, 6 seconds, and 63 milliseconds. This run would officially put me in the top 10 runners by 1 frame, and with my sum of best being at 1902 now, unlike before where it was at 1905, things were looking good for me during this grind. With new 1906 under my belt, we were only just beginning. On April 6th, I would bring my best time down a bit lower again. I would keep up with my 1906 until 2-4, where I would lose a frame roll and fall behind. But with a very slick 3-4, I would gain that frame roll back, and would be put even with my PB. I would save another frame roll in 4-3 by getting Sky Boots. Sadly, a bad fire kill in 6-4 would result in a frame roll loss. This time, 7-1 was much better, and I would pull out to be 1.4 seconds ahead of my PB. I was not only on 1905 pace, I was on 1904 pace. In 7-2, I made an insane blooper dodge near the exit pipe.
What was that blooper dodge?
I would lose no time at all. In 7-4, I would do something stupid at the beginning of the maze. Even though the maze didn't reset, I would lose 2 frame rolls and remain 0.7 seconds ahead, no longer at sub 1905 pace. I would play World 8 the same as my 1906, and would improve my personal best down to 19 minutes, 5 seconds, 347 milliseconds. After I got my 1905, the Warpless grind got to be very serious. My personal best may have been really strong, but didn't stop me from beating it just 4 days later, on April 10th. World 1 was very weird. I lost a frame roll in 1-2, saved it in 1-3, and lost another one in 1-4. I would be 1 frame roll behind into World 2. A very fast 4-4 kill would land me even with my PB again. A better 6-4 fight would put me 1 frame roll ahead out of 6-4, and I wasn't even at 7-4 yet, where I had lost a bunch of time previously. The fight wasn't great, but it still saved another frame roll. I was on 1904 pace into the last world. I just needed to close it out.
Alright, come on. Yes, 1904, dude. Let's go.
I had done it. I beat the game in 19 minutes, 4 seconds, and 548 milliseconds. New personal best. Things had kinda died down a little bit after this new 1904. On April 18th, I entered 8-4 on 1903 pace. The 8-4 was pretty good, and I entered the last room. If everything went well, I may have been top 5 in Super Mario Bros. Warpless.
Dude. Are you kidding me, dude?
I got hit by the last obstacle, other than Bowser, the Podoboo. The hit animation in Super Mario Bros. Lasts about the same duration as 2 frame rolls, so any hit at this point would basically kill a PB for me. And that's what happened. I ended up dying by trying to jump as low as possible to avoid the enemy, but I failed. A devastating loss, but I had to keep going, but the fire in the fireplace was running out. On April 20th, I would declare a break from Warpless. I had reached a burnout point for the category. I wasn't having so much fun with the category like I was before, so through the end of April and most of May, I did other speedruns. Towards the end of May, I would return to Warpless, mainly due to the annual tournament that would start at the beginning of June. On May 28th, the stars would align again, not in the way that I wanted them to. This run got to be really fast. I was a whole second ahead into 4-4. Since I got an amazing 4-4 kill in my previous PB, I lost a frame roll even with a decent fight. I was still 0.7 seconds ahead though, and still on pace for that tasty 1903. Entering 7-4, I knew that I could be top 3 if I got a good 7-4 fire kill. Bowser prevailed, and I wouldn't save that extra frame roll. The best I could get now was a high 1903, but a high 1903 was in fact a PB. I was trying my best to hang in there. I messed up the 8-3 slowdown to avoid fireworks, and would lose another frame roll, leaving me only 0.35 seconds ahead of my 1904.5. I could have went for a tricky wall jump strat that required 2 frame perfect jump inputs, but chose to take the PB route and went for the 2 frame wall jump setup anyway. I PB'd with a time of 19 minutes, 4 seconds, and 232 milliseconds. 1903 would have to wait another day. 2 days later, on May 30th, I would boot up another Warpless session, determined to get the 1903. The 5th run of the day would turn out to be a good attempt. A slow 2-4 fight would make me 1 frame roll behind my PB. I missed Sky Boots, and had no choice but to go for the 4-4 wall clip. The odds were in my favor, and I clawed back to being tied with my personal best into the second half of the game. I remained even with my PB until 7-2, where a slow water exit would take a frame roll away from me. A good 7-4 fight would give me that frame roll back though. Entering World 8, I knew that this was my moment.
It is time to give me the 1903 game. 2 times already I've lost it to late game. It's time to get it.
I saved the frame roll in 8-3 that I had lost before, and got to 8-4 on 1903 pace. Grade 84 would grant me to the 1903 club, with a time of 19 minutes, 3 seconds, and 833 milliseconds. I was now the 4th best in the world, and I felt amazing after this run. I was getting very close to my ultimate goal, which was a 1901. I believed that I could get there eventually. After my 1903, I would still grind out Warpless a bit more. However, I had lost a lot of motivation to keep going. 1903 was a great time, and part of me just wanted to move on. Part of me wanted to improve my PB. I had no idea what to do. On June 7th, I got to 7-4 fast enough to get 3rd place. At the time, 3rd place was a time of 19 minutes, 3 seconds, and 700 milliseconds set by Supersonic. The Podoboo would block one of my opening shots, and failed to kill Bowser before I grabbed the axe, killing the run entirely. I lost over 2 seconds, and could only get as good as a 1905 at that point. Not long after this, I stopped playing Warpless, and haven't returned to the category since. Over the course of many weeks, and hundreds of attempts, I have ventured on a quest unlike any other I had done at the time. PB after PB after PB multiple times. A grind I think back to sometimes, and whenever I see someone grind for a great Warpless time, I always have memories of my journey. Sometimes I question myself on when I plan to return to the category, and get the clutch 1901. Probably sometime later this year, but I do plan to return to Super Mario Bros. Warpless at some point. Thanks for watching.